Dear viewers, welcome back. French President François Hollande addressed the Parliament about France's response to the Paris attacks in a rare speech to lawmakers gathered in the majestic Congress room of the Palais of Versailles. Hollande said that the Paris attacks were decided in Syria, prepared in Belgium, and perpetrated with French help. He said that 19 nationalities were represented among the victims of the attacks in Paris. The French president called on France to show perseverance and unity in the wake of the worst ever terrorist attack on French soil. He added that the bill to extend state of emergency for 3 months will be presented on Wednesday. U.S. President Barack Obama on Monday conceded that the Paris terror attacks were a terrible and sickening setback in the fight against Daesh, but showed no indication of substantially changing his approach to defeating the extremist group. Speaking in a measured tone, Obama said the U.S. would intensify its campaign of airstrikes and arming and training moderate forces. The president also announced a new effort to share intelligence with France following the coordinated terror spree across Paris that killed at least 129 people. We have the details in the following report.
European foreign ministers meeting in Brussels called for unity in the fight against terror following the attacks in Paris. EU Foreign Policy Chief Federica Mogherini said Friday's attacks in Paris, which left 129 people dead and were claimed by the Daesh group, were not an attack on one single country, but an attack on Europe, an attack on civilization. She urged EU members to unite forces, share information, share a political agenda, put together all diplomatic, economic, sometimes also military efforts to face the Daesh threat. French European Affairs Minister Harlem Desserre said that while France had been targeted, the entire of Europe was been affected. Didier Reynders, Foreign Minister of Belgium, where several of the Paris suspects hailed from, agreed there was a need for greater intelligence sharing. Jean Asselborn, Foreign Minister of Luxembourg, which holds the EU's rotating presidency, warned against confusing the issues of terrorism and migration as the continent struggles to cope with its biggest refugee crisis since World War II. EU interior ministers will hold crisis talks in Brussels on Friday to tackle security issues raised by the Paris attacks. The meeting will discuss plans for a passenger name record system which involves collecting EU passenger data, a measure sought by the United States after years of controversy over how to protect personal information while fighting terrorism and serious crime.
France and other countries in Europe observed a minute's silence at noon on Monday in memory of the victims of the worst ever terror attacks on French soil. In Paris, President François Hollande and his cabinet, all dressed in black, bowed their heads at the Sorbonne University, surrounded by scores of students. And at Palais de la République, near the site of many of Friday's attacks, hundreds more stood still to remember the victims who were killed in the bloodbath. Large crowds also gathered in silence by the Bataclan music venue, where 89 people were killed, and outside a nearby bar and restaurant where 15 people were killed. Egypt's general consul in Paris confirmed that an Egyptian man was among the victims of the terrorist attack on Bataclan Theatre in Paris last Friday. Consulate officials said that the man was living in France. They noted that the body of victim will be returned to Egypt. Another Egyptian was injured in the attack on the stadium and is now receiving treatment in hospital in Paris. Meanwhile, the French embassy in Cairo expressed appreciation to the gesture made by decorating the Giza pyramids on Sunday with lights of the French flag in solidarity with France after Friday's attacks. The pyramids were decorated by lights with the colors of the French, Lebanese and Russian flags, all nations that suffered terrorists' attack recently. France staged dozens of raids on suspected extremists on Monday and bombed the Daesh group in Syria as the Prime Minister steeled the nation for more bloodshed after its deadliest ever terror attacks. Investigators identified 2 more attackers involved in the attack, including a Frenchman previously charged in a terrorist case and a suicide bomber found with a Syrian passport, although the authenticity of the document still needs to be verified. Police conducted several dozen raids across France, while Belgian police launched a new operation in a radical hotspot in the increasingly international probe. In the southeastern French city of Lyon, police found an arsenal of weapons, including a rocket launcher and a Kalashnikov assault rifle. French Interior Minister said more than 100 people have been placed under house arrest, 23 arrested and 31 weapons seized. British Prime Minister David Cameron said on Monday he wanted Britain to carry out airstrikes against the Daesh terrorist group in Syria, but still needed to convince more lawmakers to back such action. Britain is involved in bombing in Iraq, but Cameron lost a parliamentary vote in 2013 to extend that action to Syria. However, Cameron said he would take immediate direct action if British interests were at stake, citing drone attacks which had killed British militants in August. Cameron said that the British security services have foiled around 7 terror attacks since June, with fighters returning from Syria posing a growing threat. Cameron also said there were hopeful signs from Saturday's talks in Vienna on Syria that progress was being made on how to deal with Daesh. Yemeni security officials said that Saudi-led airstrikes and clashes have killed some 40 Shiite rebels and their allies over the past 24 hours. The officials said the airstrikes and fighting took place mostly in Idlib province into Monday and near the cities of Mocha and Taiz. We have the details in the following report.
Yemeni loyalists and Saudi-led coalition forces launched an offensive to retake the key battleground province of Taiz from Iran-backed rebels. The forces loyal to President Abdurrabbu Mansour Hadi have been pressing to recapture parts of Yemen seized by the Shiite Houthi rebels who overran the capital last September and then advanced south. Military officials have said the coalition sent major reinforcements before they advanced towards Taiz. General Ahmed Al-Yafi, commander of the 4th Military Region, said that the military operation to liberate Taiz has begun after the arrival of military reinforcements from the Arab Coalition, resistance forces and the National Army in the south and west of Taiz province. According to sources, Sudanese forces from the strategic Al-Anad air base in Najj are taking part in the Taiz operations. Meanwhile, military officials said that 3 pro-government fighters and 2 rebels were killed in clashes